Hey guys, Fappy Hole here. So if you ever gotten the chance to see me in real life, you will notice the first detail about me is that I have really nice hair. But the second major detail about me that you'll notice is that I have a lot of tattoos. I recently just made a tattoo appointment to get my 10th tattoo, and to celebrate the occasion, I figured I might as well share some of my funny little personal experiences of getting tattooed. Is there any reason for me to talk about this? No, but fuck you, it's my channel, I do what I want. Now, I kind of just want to break this up into multiple mini stories because for a majority of my stories of getting tattooed, not much really noteworthy happens, but because a lot of it is just, going there, sitting down, getting hit with a needle, and then you walk out and pay. So you can't really explain all too much about that, but you can talk about a lot of the details leading up to it and some of the little funny little quirks that happen during it. So I just kind of want to hit a lot of the more important story beats, especially because a lot of them are some of the funny little bits that I end up getting asked about whenever anyone notices that I get tattooed and they want to sit there and ask about them. Also, real fast, I do want to shout out my artist, Justin. He's done almost every one of my tattoos. Follow him on Instagram at Justin Marcillo Tattoo. His link is also in the description. He does fantastic work. He's awesome. Give him a follow. I will appreciate it if you show him some love. All right, where better to start than the beginning? I got my first tattoo for my 18th birthday. My birthday tends to fall around Thanksgiving, and little 17-year-old me was sitting across the table, shoveling bird down his throat, guzzling cranberry sauce, with my eldest brother, who was sitting directly across from me, when he ends up telling me, "Tomorrow, I'm taking you to the tattoo shop, and we're making an appointment. You're getting a tattoo. Figure out what you want." Personally, I was fine with this because I've always wanted a tattoo. I've wanted the experience of it, but up until that point, I never really put much thought into figuring out what the hell I wanted. I remember that night I was up until like 2 o'clock in the morning looking up on Google Images, tattoo inspiration, trying to get an idea of what I wanted, but I couldn't really figure out anything that I liked. Realism tattoos are kind of gay. Black and gray is just boring. Nothing anime or gaming related for my first tattoo. I even think I tried to convince myself to go with like a geometric wolf design or something gay like that, but I ditched that idea real fast. I do remember though, I did fall asleep watching the Hori Smoku documentary on Sailor Jerry, and everything's American traditional. Hint, hint. So the next day rolls around and we end up going to the tattoo shop, even though I still don't know what the hell I want. We end up talking to the artist and we start figuring out like ballpark of when I'm going to be coming in to get it done. How big of a tattoo are we talking? And that's when he flat out asked me, what is it that I want? And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of froze in that moment and my mind just went blank and the words just fell out of my mouth. I want to get an anchor. With that, my fate was sealed, and $180 later, I ended up getting an anchor on the inside of my left arm. It was my first tattoo and I was personally very happy with it. Especially since where it was, it just barely poked out from my arm whenever I wore a t-shirt. So it was just something kind of cool that was able to pretty much be hidden very easily. Granted, kind of sucked for that year because I did get called Popeye from time to time, but I was still very proud of it. I ended up making my first tattoo just a little bit better, because for my 19th birthday, I ended up adding a yellow rose behind it. So now, when you look at it, it looks like a full piece. Like that was exactly what I meant to get. And sat down for one whole appointment, it looks good. Remember though, that the piece might now look full, like that's exactly what I meant to get. But in reality, it was the spur of the moment choice. Do your research. It pays off. You don't want to be stuck with an anchor on the inside of your arm for a year. Ooh, now this is a fun one. Now, arguably, the most painful tattoo I've ever gotten done so far has to be my shoulder piece. By the time that I had gotten this one, I already had like 7 or 8 pieces on my body, so I kind of knew what to expect in terms of the pain, but ooh boy, was I wrong. My dumbass decided, you know what? I want a sinking ship on my shoulder blade. Yeah, a sinking ship, a big one. Maybe do like a Kraken attacking it, half submerged, or like it's in a battle with like another ship. Yeah, that'll be fucking badass. Turns out, doing a large piece on your shoulder fucking hurts. There's a lot of bone, and even gets pretty close to my spine. I was in total agony during it. Piece took about 4 to 5 hours to get done. In other words, I prayed for the sweet release of death. Like, everything about it wasn't fun. It started out okay, sitting there and talking with my artist, being able to shoot the shit with them and enjoy myself. But the more he did, the more I hated every minute of it. We had to stop 3 times, and he had to hit it with Bactine twice. He had to numb it. The longer the tattoo went on, the worse and worse it got. By the time we were almost done, I was getting nauseous from the pain. I remember like the ending of it, I was essentially doing planks on the bench because I was absolutely done at that point. I wanted it to be over. The worst part about it was the pricing. My tattoo artist had recently swapped shops to a better paying shop, so his rates changed as well. I went in thinking, okay, it's probably gonna come out to around probably $500 to $600. I'll take it. It'll hurt, but it's whatever. I was not expecting to get charged close to $800 for my shoulder piece. I was nauseous, bleeding, hating life, and then my wallet got hit. Everything about that experience was not fun. Yeah. Massive shoulder tattoos. I don't recommend them. That being said, I want to make my appointment for my next one. Now, for my most recent tattoo, it wasn't crazy in the traditional sense, but what was important about it was that I was able to start my next sleeve, and I finally discovered my pain threshold under the needle. Or at least I was able to pay attention enough to realize it. I can't decide which. So up until this point, all my tattoos have been the usual American traditional stuff. You know, an anchor, a rose, a pinup, a ship. But this time I kind of wanted to throw a wrench into that. Hit my artist with a curveball, if you will. I wanted to start my other arm, and I've been planning to do that with some nerdy tattoos. Think like the Master Chief helmet, the Crimson Lance logo, hell, fucking N64 logo, I don't know. But my plan has been to do nerdy stuff all over that arm, and I've been planning to christen that arm with a nerdy pinup at first on the inside of my bicep. I had a listing of girls from pop culture that I wanted to get tattooed on me, but I eventually narrowed that listing down to just 3 girls, and I ended up presenting them to my artist during our consultation. Choices for a nerdy pinup were between Harley Quinn, Mad Moxie, and 2B. My artist really liked these options, especially with 2 of them, because they would have played very well with the tattoos I had already gotten. But he personally really wanted to do a 2B tattoo, and I had no problem with that. So that's what we ended up going with. Now my appointment comes along, went in for the tattoo, chilled out, made myself comfy while he worked, you know, the normal procedure. That slowly changed the longer the tattoo had gone on. It took about 3 hours in total to finish. However, I started to have a problem with the pain around the 2.5 hour mark. I went from the usual shooting the shit, talking about life, video games, movies, whatnot for the first hour. I was alright, wasn't bad at all. Remember, I had already gotten one arm tatted up, so I knew what to expect going in. The second hour was when it was time to do the shading, and that's when it started to get to me a bit. The edges of the tattoo were hitting very close to the ditch of my elbow, as well as my armpit. So I was not enjoying myself as much by that time. The final hour of the tattoo was the absolute worst. That's when the real venom I didn't even know I had was coming out. The Justin, you're a fucking cocksucker, I hate you so goddamn much type shit. Like, there was real hate behind those words, and I had no idea where they were coming from. It even scared me. And I'm an asshole. Luckily for me though, he was laughing his ass off at me. He was able to sit there with a grin on his face, lie to my face, and tell me that we were almost done, saying that he only has a few more lines to do, while saying that 3, 4, 5 times while my arm feels like it's dying. Justin, I love you. That was a dick move. Alright, words of wisdom time. I honestly believe that everyone should at least get one tattoo in their lifetime. It is both an experience and also a great piece of art. Sometimes they can have meaning, like the name of a loved one who passed away, or could have no meaning at all, like a fucking anchor. They are beautiful pieces of art that an artist who developed their craft took the time and effort to make, and they also deserve recognition as well. There's something about tattoos that show a kind of strength. You know what pain is and that you can take it. If you want to get a tattoo, especially if you want to do your first tattoo, I cannot stress this enough. Do your research. You got to figure out what you want, what style you want it in, where it's going to be, what artist you're going to be getting it from, and what shop to do it in. There's a lot that goes into getting a tattoo, so make sure that it is something you are 110% committed to. You want to be the schlep that thought for his 18th birthday, getting his girlfriend's name with the high school's mascot tattooed on him was a great idea. The rule of thumb that I remember one of my friends told me that has stuck with me was to think about what you want to get. Keep a mental note of it or write it down, whatever you want to do. Wait a year. If in a year's time you still want to get that tattoo, then go for it. Remember, everyone's tastes and hobbies change. Tattoos don't.